The great hall of Nexus Prime buzzed with worried voices. Hundreds of alien beings from across the galaxy sat in their floating chairs, their eyes fixed on the giant screen at the front of the room. On that screen was a small blue planet, third from its star in a system the locals called Sol. Ambassador Veltar stretched his crystal arms and clicked his feet against the floor. His kind had been watching this planet for 300 years. What they had seen there made his light dim with fear. "The humans have done it again," he said to the gathered crowd. His voice echoed through the chamber like breaking glass. "They have gone from riding horses to flying metal birds in just 100 years. Commander Thexmar floated forward in his dark suit. His species had conquered 12 star systems through careful planning and superior weapons. But these humans worried him more than any enemy army. "Show them the war recordings," Thexmar said. The screen changed. Now it showed human soldiers in a place called World War II. The aliens watched in horror as humans threw themselves at machine gun nests, knowing they would die. They saw pilots crash their planes into enemy ships on purpose. They watched humans dig through rubble with their bare hands to save people they had never met. "Look at their faces," Veltar said quietly. "They are not angry. They are not afraid. They are determined." An alien with 6 legs and blue skin stood up. "But surely they fight only when attacked. All species do this." Veltar shook his crystal head. "No, Kextar. Watch this." The screen showed different humans. These ones wore white coats and worked with strange machines. The aliens watched as a human woman mixed dangerous chemicals in a small room. Explosions happened. She mixed them again. More explosions. She did this 47 times before she got the result she wanted. "They call this science," Veltar explained. "They do dangerous things over and over until they work. They are not satisfied with what they have. They always want more." Another alien, this one tall and thin with purple skin, made a worried sound. "How fast are they advancing?" "Too fast," Thexmar answered. He touched a button and numbers appeared on the screen. "Other species take 10,000 years to go from simple tools to spaceflight. The humans did it in 5,000. But that is not the worst part." The room went quiet. Even the usual humming of the air machine seemed to stop. "They are getting faster," Thexmar continued. "Each discovery makes the next one happen sooner. They went from their first flying machine to landing on their moon in 66 years. From their first computer to a global communication network in 50 years. A small alien with many eyes spoke up. "What do their leaders say about space travel?" The screen changed again. Now it showed a human man standing at a podium. He was speaking to thousands of other humans. The aliens listened to the translation. "We choose to go to the moon not because it is easy, but because it is hard." The hall erupted in shocked whispers. Species across the galaxy made sounds of fear and confusion. "They choose the hard way on purpose," Veltar said. "Every other species in the galaxy takes the path of least resistance. We solve problems by avoiding them. Humans create problems just so they can solve them." An old alien with wrinkled gray skin raised a shaking hand. "But surely they must have some weakness." "All species do." Thexmar laughed, but it was not a happy sound. "That is what we thought too. So we studied their entertainment." New images appeared on the screen. Humans were watching moving pictures that showed impossible things. Humans flying without wings. Humans traveling faster than light. Humans fighting monsters that could destroy planets. "They call these movies fiction," Thexmar explained. But look at what happens next. The images changed. Now they showed real humans building machines that let them fly. Real humans sending signals faster than anything in nature. Real humans creating weapons that could crack moons. "They imagine impossible things," Thexmar said slowly. "And then they make them real." The hall fell completely silent now. No whispers. No clicking. No humming. Just the sound of hundreds of aliens breathing in fear. Veltar stepped forward. "There is more. Our spies have intercepted their personal communications. Humans do something no other species does. They form emotional bonds with other species." "You mean they enslave other creatures?" asked a green alien. "No," Veltar said quietly. "They love them. They keep small animals in their homes and call them family. They cry when these animals die. They spend resources to heal sick animals that give them nothing in return." "But why?" asked the 6-legged alien. "We do not know. It serves no survival purpose. It makes no logical sense. But they do it anyway." Thexmar activated another screen. This one showed human music. The sound filled the hall. Voices singing together in harmony, creating something beautiful for no practical reason. "They sing," he said. Even when going to war, they sing. Even when they are sad, they sing. Even when they are alone in the darkness of space, they sing. An alien made of living metal spoke for the first time. What do the war strategists recommend? Immediate containment, Thexmar replied without hesitation. We have already begun construction of a barrier around their system. Any human ship that tries to leave will be quietly redirected back to Earth. They will think they had navigation failures. And if that does not work? The room waited. Thexmar looked at each alien face before answering. Then we may have to destroy their planet before they reach the stars. The vote was unanimous. Every species agreed. The humans were too dangerous to be allowed into the galaxy. Their creativity, their refusal to accept limitations, their strange ability to love creatures different from themselves, all of it marked them as a threat to the ordered universe the other species had built. The barrier went up 3 days later. It was invisible, undetectable by human science. Gravity fields would catch any ship trying to leave the Sol system and guide it back home. The humans would never know why their space missions kept failing. The galaxy breathed easier. The threat was contained. But in the dark space beyond Earth's moon, a small piece of alien technology had broken off during construction. It tumbled through the void, unnoticed by its creators until it was caught by Earth's gravity and pulled down to the surface. A human child found it in her backyard 3 months later. Captain Lee Daeho stood on the bridge of the Pioneer's Dream and looked out at the stars. His ship was not like the ones that came before. Those ships had failed in strange ways. Navigation errors, power failures, mysterious course changes that sent them back to Earth. But this ship was different. Dr. Park, what is our status? Lee asked. Dr. Park Minseo looked up from her computer screens. Her eyes were bright with excitement. All systems green, Captain. The quantum drive is ready for activation. Lee nodded. Park had spent 5 years studying the strange metal object that fell from space. The child who found it had given it to her scientist parents who could not understand what it was made of. Eventually, it found its way to Park's laboratory. This metal remembers things, Park had explained to the project team months ago. It holds information about technologies we have never seen. Whoever made this knows how to bend space in ways our physics says should be impossible. Engineer Kim Soo-jin called out from her station. Captain, I am reading the same gravitational anomalies that destroyed the previous missions. But our new navigation system shows something interesting. What is it, Kim? The anomalies are not natural. They form perfect patterns around our solar system. Someone put them there on purpose. Lee felt his stomach tighten. He had suspected this for years, ever since the 5th colony ship mysteriously changed course and returned to Earth. The crews always reported navigation failures, but the patterns were too perfect to be accidents. Someone has been keeping us trapped, he said quietly. Communications Officer Han Bo-ra suddenly turned in her chair. Captain, I am picking up transmissions from beyond the barrier. They are not from Earth. The bridge went silent. These were the first alien signals humans had ever detected. Can you translate them? Lee asked. Han Bo-ra worked at her station for several minutes. The alien metal had contained more than just technology. It also held language patterns, mathematical concepts, and what appeared to be a universal translator matrix. I am getting pieces of it, she said. They are talking about containment protocols, something about a species that must not be allowed to spread. Lee and Park looked at each other. The meaning was clear. They are talking about us, Park said. Han Bo-ra continued working. More words came through clearly now. Immediate termination if containment fails, she translated. The human threat must not reach other systems. Lee made his decision. Kim, activate the quantum drive. We are leaving the solar system. Sir, if we are right about this barrier, then we find out if our new technology can beat theirs, Lee said firmly. If humans are going to die, we will not die hiding in our own system. The quantum drive hummed to life. Unlike normal engines that push through space, this one seemed to step outside of space entirely. The ship did not move faster. It simply stopped being in one place and started being in another. The gravitational barriers that had trapped humanity for decades passed by like shadows. The Pioneer's Dream slipped through dimensions the aliens did not know existed. We are through, Kim reported. We are in interstellar space. Lee looked at the star display. For the first time in human history, they were truly free of their home system. Han Bo-ra, are you still receiving those transmissions? Yes, sir. And Captain? They know we escaped. I am hearing emergency signals across multiple channels. The transmissions were panicked now, voices in dozens of alien languages all saying variations of the same thing. The humans had broken containment. The threat was loose. Where is the nearest alien station? Lee asked. Park checked her star charts. The alien metal had contained maps of local space. There is a massive structure 37 light-years from here. The signals call it Nexus Prime. That is where we are going, Lee said. If they want to destroy Earth, they will have to explain themselves to us first. The journey took 3 days. The quantum drive did not follow normal rules of space travel. Instead of accelerating to high speeds, it simply decided that the ship was already at its destination. The universe rearranged itself around this decision. When they arrived at Nexus Prime, the entire bridge crew stared in amazement. The alien station was larger than Earth's moon. It was covered in docking bays, communication arrays, and weapons that could destroy planets. They built this to keep order in the galaxy, Park said quietly. And now they know we exist. Han Bo-Ra, open a channel, Lee ordered. Sir, what should I say? Lee thought for a moment. Humanity's first words to alien civilization would be remembered forever. They needed to be the right words. This is Captain Lee Dae-ho of the Earth vessel Pioneer's Dream, he said into the microphone. We know you have been watching us. We know you have been afraid of us. We are here to find out why. The response was immediate. Every communication channel around Nexus Prime went silent. The massive station stopped all movement. Even the running lights seemed to dim. Captain, Han Bo-Ra whispered, I think they are all listening. For 5 full minutes, nothing happened. The largest gathering of alien civilizations in the galaxy had been struck speechless by the arrival of a single human ship. Finally, a response came. It was in perfect English. Human vessel, you will dock at Bay 94. You will bring no weapons. You will bring only 3 representatives. Lee looked at his crew. Park, Han Bo-Ra, you are with me. Kim, keep the ship ready for immediate departure. What if this is a trap? Kim asked. Lee smiled grimly. Then we spring it and see what happens. That is what humans do. As they prepared to board the shuttle that would take them to the alien station, Park made one final check of her equipment. Captain, the readings I am getting from this station, their technology is thousands of years more advanced than ours. They could destroy our ship without even noticing. Then why have they not done it already? Lee asked. Park thought about this. Maybe they want to understand us as much as we want to understand them. Or maybe, Han Bo-Ra said quietly, they are more afraid of us than we are of them. The shuttle bay doors opened, and 3 humans stepped out to meet the galaxy. The central chamber of Nexus Prime was larger than any building on Earth. Thousands of alien beings filled the curved walls, each representing a different species from across the galaxy. Captain Lee Dae-ho walked slowly across the vast floor, followed by Dr. Park Min-seo and Communications Officer Han Bo-Ra. The aliens stared at them in complete silence. Some had crystal bodies that reflected light in rainbow patterns. Others were tall and thin like living shadows. A few looked like walking plants with leaves that moved without wind. But all of them watched the 3 humans with the same expression, fear mixed with curiosity. Ambassador Veltar stepped forward from the crowd. His crystal body clicked and chimed as he moved. I am Veltar of the Crystalline Hegemony. I speak for the Galactic Council. Dr. Park stepped forward and bowed slightly. I am Dr. Park Min-seo of Earth. We represent humanity. You should not be here, Veltar said. His voice sounded like wind through broken glass. The containment barriers should have prevented your escape. Ah, Park said with a small smile. So you admit there were barriers. The chamber erupted in whispers and strange alien sounds. Several species made noises that the universal translator could not convert to words. Commander Thexamar floated down from the upper levels. His dark suit seemed to absorb light. How did you escape? Your technology is primitive compared to ours. Han Bo-Ra held up a small piece of metal. You left this behind when you built your barriers. It taught us things. Veltar's crystal body grew brighter with anger. That is hegemony technology. You had no right to study it. You had no right to imprison an entire species, Lee said calmly. But we are not here to argue about rights. We are here to understand why you were so afraid of us that you built a cage around our entire solar system. The chamber fell silent again. Thousands of alien eyes focused on the 3 small figures standing in the center of the vast room. You want to know why we fear you? Thexmar asked. Very well. We have watched your species for 3 centuries. We have seen what you do. A massive screen appeared above the chamber. It showed images from Earth, cities growing from nothing, forests being cleared and then replanted, oceans crossed by ships that grew larger and faster with each generation. Other species develop slowly. Thexmar continued. They follow natural laws. They accept limitations. You do not. The screen changed to show human inventors working in laboratories. Explosions, failures, successes, more explosions. You try impossible things until they become possible, Veltar added. This makes you dangerous to the natural order. Dr. Park looked around the chamber at the thousands of alien faces. Is that all? You were afraid because we try hard? An alien with 6 arms and blue skin spoke up. Show them the war footage. New images appeared on the screen. Human soldiers charging across battlefields, human pilots flying damaged planes back to base, human medics running into burning buildings to save strangers. You fight in ways that make no sense, the blue alien continued. You sacrifice yourselves for abstract ideas like freedom and justice. You refuse to surrender even when victory is impossible. And, Lee asked, and that makes you unpredictable, Thexmar said. Every other species in the galaxy follows logical patterns. Predator species conquer through superior force. Prey species defend through superior technology. You do both at the same time. The screen showed more images now. Humans exploring dangerous places, climbing impossible mountains, diving to the deepest parts of their oceans. You explore for no practical reason, Veltar said. You risk your lives just to see what is on the other side of things. Hanbora looked puzzled. But do you not explore? How did you build this great station? We built Nexus Prime for trade and defense, Thexmar explained. Every structure has a purpose. Every system serves a function. You build things just to see if you can build them. Park nodded slowly. I think I understand. You see us as chaos in an ordered universe. Exactly, Veltar said. Your species threatens everything we have spent millions of years creating. But then Park did something that surprised everyone in the chamber. She smiled. Thank you, she said. The alien whispers started again, louder this time. Thank you. Veltar's crystal body flickered with confusion. Yes. You have helped us understand something important about ourselves. We are different from you. Not better, not worse, just different. Lee stepped forward. We came here with an offer. But first, we want you to know that we found your barriers 3 months after they were built. The chamber gasped. Thousands of aliens made sounds of shock and fear. That is impossible, Thexmar said. Our gravitational fields were undetectable by your technology. True, Park agreed. But you made one mistake. You built them too perfectly. Space is naturally chaotic. When we found areas of perfect order, we knew they were artificial. Hanbora continued the explanation. We could have broken your barriers 3 years ago. We chose not to. Why? Veltar asked. Because we wanted to understand what we were dealing with first, Lee said. We spent 3 years studying your technology, learning your languages, and trying to figure out why someone would want to trap us. Park held up a data pad. We intercepted thousands of your transmissions. We know about your debates. We know some of you wanted to destroy Earth entirely. The chamber was completely silent now, so here is our offer, Lee said. We know you are afraid of human chaos, but chaos is not always destructive. Sometimes chaos creates new possibilities. What are you proposing? Thexmar asked carefully. Partnership, Park said. You have spent millions of years building an ordered galaxy. You have solved the problems of war, hunger, and disease, but you have also stopped growing. She gestured to the great chamber around them. When was the last time anyone in this room had a truly new idea? When did any of your species last make a discovery that surprised them? The aliens looked at each other uncertainly. We offer to share our chaos, Lee continued. In exchange, we want to learn from your order. Together, we might create something neither of us could build alone. And if we refuse? Veltar asked. Hanbora spoke quietly. Then we go home and wait. But Captain, I should tell you what else we found in those transmissions. She touched her data pad. 17 species in this galaxy are facing problems they cannot solve with their current methods. The crystal worlds are running out of energy sources. The water planets are developing new diseases. The gas giant colonies are losing their atmospheric processors. Park nodded. These problems require new approaches, creative solutions, the kind of thinking that comes naturally to humans. You would help us even if we refused your partnership? A small alien with many eyes asked. Yes, Lee said simply. Because that is what humans do. We help when we can, even if it costs us something. The chamber erupted in debate. Aliens argued in dozens of languages. Some seemed excited by the human offer. Others appeared terrified. Finally, Veltar called for order. We will need time to consider this proposal. Of course, Park said. But while you decide, remember this, we are already here. The question is not whether humanity will be part of the galaxy. The question is whether we will be partners or just neighbors. As the three humans were escorted back to their ship, aliens throughout the chamber began talking in small groups. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy was discussing new possibilities. 3 months had passed since the humans first arrived at Nexus Prime. The galaxy was no longer united. Half the species wanted to try working with humans. The other half wanted to destroy Earth before the chaos spread further. Dr. Park So-young sat in a small laboratory on the human ship, working with alien scientists who had volunteered to study what made humans different. She was not like the other humans who came on this mission. While Captain Lee and his crew were explorers and diplomats, Park So-young was a psychologist who studied how minds worked. Dr. Zefkol, have you found anything in your scans? She asked the tall alien with purple skin who was operating a complex machine. Your brain patterns are unlike anything in our databases, Zefkol replied. His long fingers moved over the controls with practiced skill. Most species think in linear patterns. They identify a problem, consider possible solutions, and choose the best one. But humans what? You think in circles and spirals. Your minds jump between ideas that seem unrelated. You consider solutions that should not work. It is very strange, Park So-young smiled. Can you show me the brain scans of other species? Zefkol displayed several images on the screen. Each alien brain showed neat, organized thought patterns. The ideas flowed in logical sequences from one part of the brain to another. Then he showed Park So-young's brain scan. Her thought patterns looked like a fireworks display. Ideas exploding in all directions, connecting to other ideas in ways that seemed random but somehow worked. Every species in the galaxy evolved as either predators or prey, explained Dr. Quintar, a crystal being who specialized in evolution. Predator species developed brains that focus on goals. They see targets and find the most direct path to reach them. Prey species developed brains that focus on safety. They see problems and find the most efficient solution. What did humans evolve as? Park So-young asked, though she suspected the answer. Both, Quintar said. Your species hunted animals that were bigger and stronger than you. This required predator thinking. But you also lived in groups and had to work together to survive. This required prey thinking. Your brains do both at the same time. In another part of the space station, engineer Yu Hyun-woo was demonstrating human problem-solving to a group of fascinated aliens. They had given him a mechanical puzzle that usually took their best engineers 6 hours to solve. The traditional approach is to analyze each component, explained engineer Mexaval, a being made of living metal. You identify the purpose of each part, understand how they connect, and then manipulate them in the correct sequence. Yu Hyun-woo looked at the puzzle for 30 seconds. Then he picked up a nearby tool and started hitting different parts of the puzzle in what seemed like a random pattern. The aliens made shocked noises. You are breaking it! No, Yu Hyun-woo said calmly. I am asking it what it wants to be. After 10 minutes of seemingly chaotic manipulation, the puzzle suddenly rearranged itself into the solved configuration. How did you know that would work? Mexval asked. I did not know, Yu Hyun-woo admitted, but I noticed that the puzzle was trying to solve itself. Each time I hit a part, other parts moved slightly, so I helped it do what it was already trying to do. The aliens stared at him. You solved a logic puzzle by ignoring logic? I solved it by listening to the puzzle instead of fighting it. Meanwhile, Captain Oh Seung-min, who had taken over diplomatic duties from Lee, was presenting humanity's formal proposal to the Galactic Council. We offer to share our perspective with any species that wants it, he said to the assembled aliens. In exchange, we ask for full membership in galactic civilization. Ambassador Veltar spoke for the opposition. Your perspective is dangerous. In 3 months, you have already begun changing things. The Botanical Consortium has started growing food in impossible conditions using your genetic modification ideas. The Crystal Hegemony has built computers that work on intuition instead of logic. These changes are happening too fast. Change is always scary. Captain O agreed. But is it more scary than stagnation? Commander Thexmar floated forward. What do you mean? When did your civilizations last make a major breakthrough? O asked. When did you last discover something that surprised you? The aliens looked at each other. Several whispered conversations started. The hegemony's last major discovery was 6,000 years ago, Veltar admitted. The Void Collective has not developed new technology for 4,000 years, Thexmar added. Because you have solved all the solvable problems, O said. Your civilizations are perfect, but they are also finished. You have reached the end of what ordered thinking can accomplish. Dr. Park So-young stepped forward, but there are still problems that need solving. I have been reviewing your databases. 17 species face challenges that their traditional methods cannot handle. She activated a display screen. The water worlds are developing new diseases that resist all known treatments. The gas giant colonies are losing atmospheric pressure faster than they can replace it. The crystal planets are running out of energy sources. These problems require new approaches, Captain O continued. They need the kind of thinking that questions basic assumptions and tries solutions that should not work. An alien with 6 arms spoke up. But what if your chaos destroys what we have built? Then we help you build something better, O said simply. That is what humans do. We break things that do not work and create things that do work. Engineer Yu Hyun-woo stepped forward with his solved puzzle. Your ancestors built this puzzle to test logical thinking. But logical thinking could not solve it quickly. Sometimes you need illogical thinking to find logical solutions. The debate that followed lasted for hours. Species argued about the benefits and dangers of human partnership. Some pointed to the successful collaborations that had already begun. Others worried about losing the stability they had spent millions of years creating. Finally, a small alien with many eyes asked the question everyone was thinking. If we agree to this partnership, what guarantee do we have that humans will not eventually take over the galaxy? Park So-young answered. You have the same guarantee we have that you will not destroy Earth. None. Partnership requires trust. Trust requires risk. We are willing to take that risk because we believe the alternative is worse. What alternative? Veltar asked. A galaxy that never changes, Captain O said. A universe where all the great discoveries have already been made. A future where every species slowly fades away because they have stopped growing. The vote was close. 51% of the galactic species agreed to try partnership with humanity. 49% refused and began forming what they called the Preservation Alliance. As the humans prepared to return to Earth with news of their success, Dr. Park So-young made one final observation to her alien colleagues. You are afraid that human chaos will destroy your order, she said, but you have not considered that your order might improve our chaos. This partnership will change both of us. That is what makes it worth trying. The galaxy was no longer silent. It was arguing, debating, and experimenting. For better or worse, the age of unchanging stability was over. 1 year had passed since the vote that split the galaxy in half. The changes were everywhere, and they were impossible to ignore. Dr. Kim Young-ho stood in the joint research facility orbiting Nexus Prime, looking at a screen that showed impossible things. The crystal hegemony had just achieved faster-than-light communication by combining human intuitive thinking with their advanced quantum technology. How did you know it would work? Asked Dr. Vextar, a crystal being whose light patterns showed excitement. Kim Young-ho shrugged. I did not know. But your people have been trying to send messages through space for thousands of years. I just asked a different question. What if we stop thinking of space and time as separate things? That question makes no logical sense, Vextar pointed out. Exactly. Logic said it was impossible. But impossible just means no one has figured out how to do it yet. On the other side of the facility, engineer Park Jae-min was working with aliens from the Botanical Consortium. They had developed crops that could grow in the vacuum of space by asking another illogical question. What if plants did not need soil? The traditional approach was to bring soil to space, explained botanist Florin, whose leaf-like skin rustled with each word. We built expensive habitats and shipped dirt from planets. Very logical, but very expensive. So we tried the illogical approach, Park Jae-min said. What if the plants could eat starlight directly and use cosmic dust as nutrients? It should not work, but he gestured to the observation window. Outside, vast gardens floated in open space. their strange plants glowing with their own light as they fed on solar radiation. Your chaos thinking helped us see possibilities we had never considered, Florin admitted. But not everyone was happy with these changes. Admiral Rextor of the Preservation Alliance stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching a fleet of human vessels approach a system where his people were trying to maintain order. The humans had not come with weapons. They had come with something worse, aid missions. They are offering to help with the mining accident on Corex 7, his aide reported. Refuse them, Rextor ordered. Sir, our rescue teams cannot reach the trapped miners. The tunnels are too unstable. Then the miners are lost. That is the natural order. Some problems cannot be solved. But even as he spoke, Rextor watched human ships deploying strange devices around the collapsed mine. The humans were not trying to dig through the unstable tunnels. Instead, they were doing something that made no sense. They were singing to the rock. What are they doing? The aide asked. Rextor's instruments provided the answer. The humans were using sound waves to map the internal structure of the mountain. Their songs were creating a three-dimensional picture of every crack, every void, every pocket of air where miners might still be alive. They are finding the impossible paths, Rextor said quietly. Within 6 hours, all the trapped miners were rescued through routes that the Preservation Alliance computers had calculated did not exist. The humans had found ways through the mountain by refusing to accept that there were no ways through. Captain Li Naiyan stood on the bridge of the newest human ship, the Infinite Curiosity. She was the daughter of the first human to leave the solar system, and she had inherited his gift for asking the right questions at the wrong time. Captain, we are receiving a transmission from the Preservation Alliance, reported Communications Officer Cho Minji. What do they want? They are demanding that we stop helping their systems. They say human aid is a form of invasion. Li Naiyan smiled. Tell them we will stop helping as soon as they stop needing help. Ma'am, that does not make sense. Exactly. Sometimes the best answer to a logical demand is an illogical response. But the real change was happening in places no one expected. On distant worlds where alien children attended schools, something new was happening. The young aliens were starting to ask human-style questions. Teacher, why do we have to solve math problems the same way every time? Asked a young crystal being in a hegemony school. Because there is only one correct method, the teacher replied. But what if there are other correct methods that no one has found yet? The teacher paused. 6 months ago, such a question would have been dismissed as illogical. But now, after watching humans solve impossible problems with impossible methods, the teacher was not so sure. That is an interesting question, the teacher admitted. Similar scenes were playing out across the galaxy. Young aliens who had grown up watching human achievements were beginning to think like humans. They questioned assumptions. They tried solutions that should not work. They explored for the sake of exploring. The Preservation Alliance noticed this trend and became more desperate in their efforts to contain human influence. But they discovered something that terrified them even more than human technology. Human ideas were contagious. Admiral Rextor received reports from his intelligence officers that made his blood run cold. Sir, we have intercepted communications from 17 Preservation Alliance worlds. Their populations are requesting human aid despite government prohibitions. On what grounds? They want to try the new farming methods. They want to learn the chaos thinking approaches to problem solving. They want to know why humans explore dangerous places just to see what is there. Rextor stared at the reports. The humans had not conquered these worlds through superior weapons or technology. They had conquered them through curiosity. Back on Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council was holding an emergency session. But this time it was not about containing humanity. It was about something far more significant. Ambassador Veltar stood before the assembly with news that would have been unthinkable a year ago. The hegemony has made contact with beings from a parallel dimension, he announced. The chamber erupted in excited whispers. How is this possible? Asked Commander Thexmar. We asked a human question, Veltar admitted. Instead of trying to travel to other dimensions, we asked if other dimensions might travel to us. Dr. Kim Young-ho suggested that we stop looking for doors and start looking for visitors. On the screen, images appeared of beings that looked like living energy patterns. They had been trying to contact the galaxy for thousands of years. But no one had thought to listen for their signals because they were transmitted through emotional frequencies instead of radio waves. The dimensional beings want to establish trade, Veltar continued. They offer technologies based on emotional energy in exchange for our mathematical concepts. This is exactly what we were afraid of, said an alien from the Preservation Alliance. Human thinking is changing everything too fast. But then something unexpected happened. A young alien, barely old enough to speak, stood up in the observers section. Why is change scary? The young alien asked. My parents told me the universe used to be just empty space. Then stars formed. Then planets, then life. The universe has always been changing. Why should it stop now? The chamber fell silent. Out of the mouths of children came wisdom that adults had forgotten. Captain Li Nayan received the transmission while her ship was exploring the edge of known space. The message was from Earth, from the World Council that now governed humanity's relationship with the galaxy. Captain, you are requested to return home. We are receiving applications from 47 species that want to establish human-style educational exchanges. We need experienced space diplomats to help coordinate the programs. Li Nayan looked at her crew. What do you think? Ready to become teachers? Captain, said Engineer Baisujin, I thought we were explorers. We are. But maybe the most important thing we can explore is how to help other species explore themselves. As the infinite curiosity turned toward Earth, its sensors detected something unusual in nearby space. A ship from the Preservation Alliance was following them, but it was not acting like a military vessel. Captain, the ship is requesting permission to dock, reported Cho Minji. Why would they want to dock with us? The answer came in a transmission from the alien ship. This is Admiral Rextor of the Preservation Alliance. I am requesting asylum. Li Nayan was too surprised to speak. Captain, Rextor continued, my own people have voted to join the human partnership programs. I can either accept that the universe is changing, or spend the rest of my life fighting against the inevitable. I choose acceptance. What do you want from us? Li Nayan asked. I want to learn how to ask questions that have never been asked before. The galaxy was no longer silent. It was singing, a complex harmony of different voices trying new melodies together. Some notes were still discordant and some species still refused to join the song. But something fundamental had changed. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy through force or superior technology. They had conquered it through wonder, through the simple act of asking what if, in situations where everyone else said impossible. And in learning to teach others how to question everything, humans had finally found their place among the stars, not as rulers, but as the species that reminded the universe how to dream of what could be.